Hi, everyone. My name is John DePietro.
And I'm Bob Zagami with the Camper Report Show.
And in this episode of the Camper Report Show, we're going from Florida, where we were last week, up to Alaska to find out how you can RV in Alaska without spending 4 weeks on the road. It's really cool.
All right. And I've got our friend Joel Holland coming back on, but not to talk about Harvest Host, to talk about their new venture. They acquired Boondockers Welcome last year, and they are rolling it out right now. So we're going to find out what the difference is and what it means to our fans.
So those stories, plus all the news of the week from our friends at RV Business in Woodall's Campground Magazine. And it's all right here. Where, Bob?
At the Camper Report Show.
Stay with us, everybody. And welcome back to the Camper Report Show. My name is John DePietro. I'm here with Bob Zagami. And Bob, with the fantastic, actually the record-breaking success that the industry has had over the last couple of years in breaking out RVing as a hobby for so many new people, one of the side effects of it is that you have to find the people to fix the RVs because eventually, you know what, they need service. And our friends at RVTI are doing just that. Tell us about it.
Yeah, they're rolling out new consumer programs. They've revamped the pricing, they revamped the schedule, and they've hired Tracy Engelmeyer, who used to be with Furion, but Tracy is now the director of recruitment for RVTI, and they are going full steam ahead on recruiting, exposing the RV industry to people that would not normally be associated with it. Yeah. And they're going to have programs and discount pricing for people to enter the career field.
And you know what? We should tell people what IVTI stands for, because you know what? There's RVIA, there's RVDA, there's all these other things, but RVTI, the RV Technical Institute, it's really could also be RV Training Institute, because their mission is to invite and entice more and more people who've never been involved with the RV industry to give it a look. And they're doing, I mean, their outreach programs are amazing, going to all these different guidance counselor programs and other programs that you want to talk about.
Yeah, they have built this facility from the ground up in Elkhart, Indiana, and funded by the industry. And now they're past the COVID environment. You know, everything and everybody slowed down for 2 years, and it affected hiring. It affected in-person training, which was stopped during that period of time. So now they're coming out of that. And with Tracy's guidance and Kurt Hemmler, the president of RV Technical Institute, they're going outside the norm. So one of the projects that Tracy has been actually displaying at and attending the conferences of the Correctional Education Association. We know that these people, a lot of them have a lot of skills, and they are going out to their conferences and setting up and making introductions with these people to have training programs in correctional facilities. They've already had one in Texas that was in a female prison, and they are training these folks to become certified technicians. They train them, they put them through the level 1 training program, and they're obviously in low risk facilities. They're people that are being brought back into society. And you're going to see more of these all around the country. They've done, I believe they've done 3 so far. Yeah. And we can't let our secret out of the bag, but tease them a little bit as to what we've got going on in that environment.
You know, I have friends that are involved in on the right side of the correctional institutions. And they say that one of the main reasons that people reoffend is because they come out of a correctional facility and they don't have any job skills. They don't have anything to do. So what happens is they start looking for money in all the wrong places and end up right back where they were. And all the studies show, and its interviews have shown this to be true, that if a person is involved with a career, and let's be very important here. Let's be very specific, Bob, and say we're enticing people into not enticing, that's not even the right word, introducing a new population into a career in the RV industry. This is not just a job.
Right,
You get your
exactly.
hands dirty and you lie down on, one of those creepers on the floor. This is a career opportunity. And let's face it, we need people that want to work. And
Right. And
guys,
it is not a job. It is not something to do until you do something else. They're going to get trained in the skill set.
Yep.
You're going to be able to go to work for RV dealers or service centers or independent mobile technicians, and they're going to be able to progress in the career field because they can go all the way through to being a general manager or service manager in a large RV dealership. So there is an acknowledged career path and training along that path for them. The other thing that they're doing, which I think is very creative, is they're going to school counselor conferences. So they're a member of the National School Counselors Association. And this is really brilliant when you think about it, because who has the most, or certainly a lot of influence on the high school kids as they're trying to decide, should they go to college or should they go to a trade? And if they go to a trade, more than likely they're thinking electrician, plumber, carpenter, because they don't know about the RV industry. But the RV technicians have to know something about electricity, carpentry, plumbing, and all those others. So we're helping them out actually at a local conference in Massachusetts soon, where they are presenting to the Massachusetts School Counselors Association. And we're going to have an RV there to show them the RV, and they're going to be on the program explaining how people can get into these training programs. And one interesting thing that Kurt has found out is that when they do this and they bring an RV, now they're there to tell people about the training programs and about the RV industry. They have an RV on display. They wind up selling a few RVs, and they wind up enticing several people to contact a local rental company because they see it. And when they finally realize that it's a real industry and real opportunities, they said, I've always thought about renting an RV, or I've always thought about buying one. I'm going to go to the dealer and check them out. So there's that residual value of getting that kind of exposure. So that's just two examples of what they're doing, and they're getting very creative on that.
Yep, exactly the point. So effectively, what we want to do is raise the impression that the general public has of the people that work in the industry. And it used to be that, one or two generations ago, if you didn't go to college, if you didn't go to a traditional 4-year college, you went to trade school. Not the case today at all, because you know what? There's so many more options. And, these plumbers and electricians are charging $200 an hour to get a light bulb fixed. And
yeah, let me give you the pricing on this, because this is brand new pricing that they just released to everybody, both RV dealerships and consumers. So RV dealerships can now sign up for the program for a flat fee of $1,200. And for $1,200, they can train every one of their technicians on the online streaming programs in the level 1 and level 2, the first 2 categories of training. They can train every technician in their dealership for $1,200 a year, period. Consumers and individuals, where if there's a dealership that doesn't subscribe to that program, then an individual technician or a consumer can join the online streaming program for $300 a year. And that gives them access to the level 1 and level 2 with textbooks and the online programming for that. And even although we need more technicians and we need people trained on the technical aspect of our industry, a consumer can actually take the course just because they want to know more about their RV and fix their own RV. Yep. So it's a win-win-win.
Exactly. And if you talk to any RV dealership owner or service manager, the thing that they'd be more than happy with is that some of these people can fix these minor things themselves. And,
right.
Certainly one of the goals of RVTI. So with that being said, that's a wrap on our news segment for this week. We've got 2 great stories coming up right here. Where, Bob?
On the Camper Report Show.
Stay with us, everyone.
Mike here from RV Blogger. Don't waste hundreds of dollars on an external GPS for your RV. All you need to do is download the RV Life app right onto your phone. This app is so cool. It has RV GPS built right into it. So you can load all the specific measurements and weights for your RV. It'll give you directions safe for your RV to follow. And by the way, if you have RV Trip Wizard, directions for your trips upload into this GPS automatically.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Camper Report Show. And if the guy on the other side of the screen looks familiar, it's Joel Holland, the CEO of Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome. He's been with us before. Joel, welcome back.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure. Yeah. And today I'm coming to you from Augusta, Georgia. Got my little Masters shirt on. Went to the Masters yesterday. We got a little thunderstorm right now, so perfect time to do an interview and talk about RVing.
Well, yeah, I like your dedication that you would interrupt a week at the Masters to find 15 minutes so Zagami can interview you.
Hey, this is the important stuff.
Well, what we wanted to talk about today is Boondockers Welcome. And you purchased that company last year, about a year ago, and you're starting to advertise and you're really starting to push it out there. So tell us what you liked about it in acquiring it and what the rollout is going to be like here.
Yeah, so Boondockers Welcome, similar to Harvest Hosts in a number of ways. It's an annual membership, only about $50, and that lets you stay for free at over 3,000 private properties. So the big difference between Harvest Hosts and Boondockers Welcome is that Boondockers Welcome tends to be people's homes. So they're sharing their driveways, their land with you. There's no product to buy. It's really more community driven. So they want to get to know you and say hello and make a new friend.
That's an interesting concept. And I like the way that you separate it between the small business person per se and the personal side of it. Is that always going to be separated that way and marketed to? You're not really marketing to two different audiences, though, are you? What about the demographics of your customers?
Yeah, so it's interesting. There is a lot of overlap. And so what we found before we bought the company was that I want to say there's about 30 or 40% of members had both programs because they're both wonderful. But I think there are some people who just really enjoy staying at small businesses and some who are looking for more of the community aspect or don't necessarily care whether it's a small business or a person's private property. They're just looking for a nice place to stay. And so when I look at it that way, we now have over 6,000 locations between these two programs. And we started, to your point, cross-promoting this to our members to say, hey, we have an all-access plan that gets you 3,000 Harvest Host locations, 3,000 Boondockers Welcome locations, and 400 golf courses. And it's really not that much. So a lot of our members are now upgrading to the all-access plan so that they have plentiful options all over North America.
Now, are they on the same platform? Are you going to embed them both in one platform?
Yes, and in fact, we took 6 months to do that. So behind the scenes for the past 6 months, our engineers were building the products together. And so now, whether you're on the app or the website, if you have one or both memberships, all the pens are in the same spots. They all use the same booking system. And the beautiful thing now is that almost all of our hosts, you can book. You can actually see a calendar, book through the website, get a confirmation, and it all runs through the same system now.
You were talking about that last time that you were on, is having that online booking capability. I would imagine that probably also spurred a big increase in membership participation, being that easy to do.
Yes, it's easy. It's easier to do for the members, and the hosts enjoy it because if their spot's taken, they don't have 100 people calling them to ask, to stay. It's just unavailable, and so it seems to be better for everybody, which is great.
And of course, that's your strength. Your strength was in software development, and so this kind of put you in a league of your own in terms of having complete control of both the marketing, establishing the host locations, whether it be a Boondocker, whether it be a Harvest Host, and your own reservation system built in, I don't see any negatives in this.
No, everybody wins. I mean, that's what I love about this business, and I've said it in the past. The businesses that work with us, they'll make an additional $40 million this year from our members. Our members obviously enjoy getting to stay at these special locations, whether it's someone's home or a beautiful winery. And it comes at a time when inventory for places to stay is lacking, right? There's a lot of kind of issues with sold out campgrounds, especially state parks, national parks. So I'm glad that we're able to kind of grow the pie, and it benefits everyone, right? I mean, I think you saw RV Business and RVIA ran articles last week about how Harvest Hosts actually drives additional revenue for traditional campgrounds as well.
Right.
Because our members stay at a beautiful, host with no hookups. They go to a campground before or after. So, I always like to point that out. We're not trying to hurt campgrounds. In fact, we're helping campgrounds, and we're helping the whole industry, which is what I like.
I would agree. And it's really fun to meet the host either at Boondockers or Harvest Host. In fact, ironically, and we didn't stage it this way, but I'm at a conference in Massachusetts right now for school counselors, and we're talking about RV technicians and the RV technician career field. And I met the woman who handles the IT backbone of this association. And we have a motorhome here to show them the motorhome and explain that process. And damned if she isn't a Boondockers Welcome host. She has been for 4 or 5 years. And I asked her, what do you love most about it? And she says, it's the people who come to visit. She says she's developed lifelong relationships and friendships. In fact, she's going on vacation to Maryland to visit somebody that stayed at their place. Talk about that camaraderie and that community aspect of it.
Yes, I think that's what makes the program really special. We know that RVers are a really special group of people. They tend to be very happy and outgoing, and all of our members are travelers, right? They're either retired or they're young families, but they're traveling, so they're having fun. And so when they get together on the road, it's always pleasant. So when they meet the hosts, they share stories from the road, bond over whatever location they happen to be visiting at that time. So I'm not surprised that a lot of real friendships come out of that. And I think that's why the Boondockers Welcome program has done so well.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. It just continues to amaze me at the growth of the company, but also the service that you provide for RVers, whether they're going out for a week or going out for a month and staying a couple of weeks at a campground, but they need an overnight accommodation, so they jump into a Harvest Host location, do some business with the small business person. You've done amazing things since you've owned the company. It's been about, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years now.
That's right. It's going to be 4 years next month. Which by the way, it's gone quickly. That's a fast 4 years. That's a whole college career.
It has. I mean, we met you early on in this journey, so you've done all this in 4 years. So I'd be remiss in not saying, what do you got planned for the next 4 years? What are you going to do for the encore, Joel?
Yeah, that's right. What's the encore? Well, we have 220,000 members right now. In 4 years, I'd like to get us to 1 million members. And so, to work backwards from that, we are going to need to add thousands of hosts, right? I'd like to have over 10,000 hosts. Across the program, I'd like to have like 25,000 hosts. So we're going to be working hard to add hosts, both on Boondockers and Harvest Hosts, and just continue to make the program better and better for both sides, for the hosts and the members.
From a business standpoint, have you reached a plateau yet where you're getting more people calling you to become a host? Or are you still, I know you got a staff that reaches out to the small business people. You get a lot of recommendations from all of us in the RV community, say, hey, Joel, I was at this winery and you ought to have them on your list. Where is it in the balance? Because you got to be coming up to a point where people are going to start to call you and say, hey, how do I get into this program?
That's right. Yes, and that has started to happen, which is wonderful. I would say it's a pretty even balance between organic inbound, so businesses approaching us and applying to the program, and our team reaching out and trying to kickstart new categories. So as an example, wineries are now very well aware of us as a program, and they share resources. And so they come to us and say, hey, we've heard of the program. It works really well for these other wineries. We'd love to join. Our team likes to kick off new categories, churches as an example. We only a couple months ago started realizing that churches can be a really good part of the program. And we now have over 100 churches on the platform. So now churches talk to other churches, and that's starting to create more organic inbounds. So that's really what our team works to do, is kick off new categories and get them running.
So if somebody's out there and they're watching the program, if they want to become a host, how do they do that? Who do they contact? Where do they go to become a host?
Yes. So, the first thing I always make sure to put out there is it's always free for hosts. So if you have a small business or a church or a property, we never charge you a dime to be in the program. I mentioned earlier, our members are going to spend over $40 million this year with the hosts they visit. We don't take any of that. So that just goes straight to the hosts. On average, they make $13,000 per location. And that's all money they get to keep. And so to join, you just go to harvesthost.com. And on the top of the page, you'll see a link that says for hosts or become a host. And that page gives you a breakdown of what it's like to be in the program. It's got some testimonials from different types of hosts, and then a short form that you fill out telling us a little bit about your location. And someone on our team will then follow up with you and see if it's the right fit, and then help get you on the website. And it's really simple. If you've got space for RVers to stay, we'd love to have you in the program.
And what about Boondockers Welcome? They go to Harvest Host. If they want to be host for Boondockers Welcome, they go to Harvest Host.
It's a good point. For that, I would go to boondockerswelcome.com, and there's a link that'll let them create, to become a host there. Also, with both accounts, if you're a Harvest Host or a Boondockers Welcome host, you get an account, a membership for free for our program for as long as you're a host. And so if you're an RVer and you want a free Boondockers Welcome account, and you have a place to let people stay on your property, become a host and you get a free membership, forever, as long as you're hosting.
You've got all the bases covered, Joel. That's great. That's fantastic. Well, we have Joel Holland, our CEO of Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome, as our guest this week. And he's probably about your third time back on the show to give us a great update. And of course, we'll put all of those links down below. And I think you're probably in your fifth wheel. It looks like you're at so you're staying in your fifth wheel at the Masters. So yes,
we should. In fact, John Daly is my next door neighbor. He pulled in, and I saw him setting up. I was like, wait a minute, I recognize that guy.
Go over and make him an honorary member of Harvest Host and Boondockers. What's he got for a rig over there?
Yeah, it's a nice rig. It's a Prevost.
Oh, okay.
He's got himself a Prevost. Yep.
Conversion, yeah.
And it looks fantastic.
He's driving in style. Okay, I think we've frozen up on Joel, but we're at the end of this particular segment. So I want to thank Joel, if you can still hear me, I want to thank you for joining us this morning, CEO of Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome. Thanks, Joel. We'll catch up to you down the road.
I'm Jesse from Outsiders Calling, and I love adventurous family travel with my wife Jenny and our son Tucker.
For over 3 years, we've RV'd across the U.S. and Mexico, and it's tough to find places that meet all our needs.
Now we plan our trips with the RV Trip Wizard, pull it up in the RV Life app, select it, and go.
It helps us discover amazing new places to grow together as a family.
RV Trip Wizard with the RV Life app is an awesome trip planning combination.
You can get both for one low annual price. Check out rvlife.com to learn more.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Camp Report Show. My name is John DePietro, and you know what we try to do here is bring you exciting adventures for your RV. And one of the coolest things that I've found is RVing in Alaska. Now, I said RVing in Alaska, not RVing to Alaska, if you're coming from the United States. And here I have Brian Minster from Great Alaska Holidays. And Brian, there's a little twist that we have about RVing in Alaska that's different than RVing to Alaska. Tell us why we should RV in Alaska and how you can help us.
Well, we recommend that you fly to Alaska and not drive. It's about a 5-day drive if that's all you do is drive.
Okay, so regardless of where I come from in the United States, say I'm in Vancouver. Okay. I drive from Massachusetts or Florida or Texas or Chicago. Now I'm in Vancouver. How long is it going to take me to get to
It's about
Alaska?
3 to 4 days from Vancouver.
3-4 more days.
Yes.
On a beautiful super highway, right?
No.
No?
It's beautiful scenery, but it's not. It's a stressful drive. It's narrow roads at times. It's now you will see wildlife, but if you want to see wildlife, just fly to Alaska.
Fly to Alaska.
Rent the RV
Okay.
from Great Alaskan Holidays and spend 10 days. You know, that's most
Then fly
people,
back and
then
forth.
fly back. Yeah.
Okay. See, the thing is, folks, a lot of people think in order to go to Alaska to enjoy the state itself, 49th state, right?
Yes.
That you've got to drive there. But I didn't realize that time period to get that you've got to go through British Columbia and the Yukon territories to get to our great state of Alaska. It's a long ride and it's not the best road in the world. So what you're saying is you can rent something like a Mini Winnie and enjoy your trip. Tell us how that works.
Well, most of our customers reserve online, and it's about, you should reserve at least 6 months in advance. We
Okay.
book out very quickly. But basically you fly into Anchorage, we pick you up at the airport, we bring you to our facility, we put you in a fully stocked RV.
Okay. Now,
Everything's stocked.
fully stocked. I don't have to bring sheets and pillowcases and towels.
No, nothing. Just food. You know, that's all you need. Pots and pans, camping chairs, whatever you want is in the RV.
Could I kind of call this a hotel on wheels?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And in Alaska, hotels are very expensive in the summer, as well as rental cars. So this gives you both.
Okay.
You've got
So
your-
you're in Anchorage.
Yep.
Which is one of the major cities.
It's our major city. Yeah.
So from Anchorage, you have routes that's already planned out for us. that
Yeah,
could-
we do. I have sample itineraries on our website.
Okay.
So, or we can recommend. You know, most people I would recommend at least 7 days. It's a lot of
That's what I was
driving.
going to say. How
Yeah.
far do you budget?
But 10 days is really the best.
The best.
10 to 15 days in that range. You know, there's a lot of driving. So
And you don't have to add on those 3 days, and then you don't have to add on 2 more weeks of driving.
no, yeah. You
If you
come
come
back,
from the
you
US.
return the RV. You don't have to clean the RV. You drop it off, and we take it to the airport.
Take it
and
there.
You're done. So
How about a website that people can find out more?
it's greatalaskanholidays.com.
Great.
And you can look at we have sample itineraries. We have the rates change daily based on demand. So the sooner you book, the cheaper the rates are going to be. So,
Better. Okay.
yeah.
And you'll be in a
We
Winnebago
have
or a similar
Winnebago,
type?
yeah.
Similar
We've been
Now, are these like 10 years old, ready to fall apart, or?
no more than 3 years old.
Okay.
So we retire them after 3 years. So
And you can buy it too, right?
You can buy it. if you
Rent it,
want,
then
yeah.
buy it.
A lot of our customers
Buy it
come
and
back.
drive it back.
Believe it or not, a lot of our customers fly back to buy an RV from us.
So there you go, folks. Camp Report Show, always bringing you the latest in best ways to use your RV.